Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Yaasseen Barnes, and this is the Muslims Connected podcast, a podcast for those seeking growth and progression in their lives. Today, we are joined by the CEO, big title, of Awqaf. As a parent and as I'll say, community leader, how do we instill leadership onto the youth now? How do we show the youth that they must go on and not just be, I'll say, pacifists in the communities, but also be like activists and be active in making the community better?
So, of late, I've been attending many leaders' janazas, right? And they're starting to die off, which means that we're starting to, our generation, starting to fulfill the roles of leaders and elders. Becoming an elder, right, within the community. So when you look at that, and I always comment that when the elders that we looked up to, they were our safety nets.
Yeah.
So we had the ability to take certain risks and do certain crazy things as youngsters would do, very radical and change things with violence and fighting. And that's another life lesson that I learned the very hard way. We'll get there. But so they act as your safety net. Our task now is to set the flag. We've carried the flag. Our previous generation, they've planted the flag. We're currently carrying that flag of Islam and the flag of humanity, the flag of truth, justice. At least we try to do that, so that we don't have genocides in the world. We don't have oppression. We don't have an auntie that is walking down or standing outside a masjid where there's a KFC right next door and cannot even afford to purchase something in the shop, but is tormented by the smell of that KFC when we're approaching Ramadan. And some of our massages are next to the maybe takeouts, and you know what it feels like. 1 o'clock when they're getting ready to mass produce food and you get those smells. Now imagine the torture and torment that somebody that knows, number one, they don't have money. Number two, there's no way that they can even walk into that shop, and they're watching you eat out of a restaurant or out of a takeaway. So it's our responsibility for the next generation is to say, this is that flag, this is the consciousness. You need to ensure that that flag is held up, and you need to ensure that you place it even further than we've left it off. One of the Sahaba, in the battle, he was carrying that flag of Islam, and his arms were cut off, and he ended up keeping it with his stumps, and he couldn't anymore, and he ended up carrying it under his chin. But that flag can never fall. So our responsibility is to ensure that we instill within the next generation that consciousness that flag cannot fall, and that flag needs to be held up high and carried forward.